You're good.
All right, good evening, everybody. This is Melanie Mitro, and I want to welcome you all to the Dream Team Weekly Call and the Knockout Brigade. We've got Katie Erstead here. She's going to be presenting to you guys this evening our call. And so we're kind of tag teaming the beginning. We're going to give you our announcements and some shout outs, and then we're going to get right in to the meat of our call. So this is your first time here, we just want to welcome you. I want to thank you for taking some time away from your evening to listen. Every single Monday, we've promised to kind of pack a punch, give you some motivation for the week, give you your weekly fuel to help you kind of get going. And this week is a little different than other weeks. This is the last week of the month, which means
You're good.
all right, good evening, everybody. This is Melanie Mitro, and I want to welcome you all to the Dream Team. I started playing in the background. All right, wait, I gotta get back to where we are. All right, there we go. I was like, oh, that kind of creeped me out. All right, anyways, sidetracked. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so motivation for me. This is our last week of the month. And do you still hear that echo? No, you're good. It's just me. Okay. So anyways, it's the last week of the month. It's the last 4 days, and everybody is really focused on hitting Success Club this month and really making sure that we hit our goals. You know, at the beginning of every month, we set goals for what we want to accomplish in our Beachbody business, and then at the end of the month, we like to reflect and evaluate where we started and where we've came. So as you're kind of finishing out, as you're setting your goals for this last 5 days, just a couple of things that I want you guys to think about. If you didn't get a chance to listen to Trina Gray's call, the National Wake Up Call this morning, it was fabulous. By far, one of the best calls that I've heard. And she really talked about taking your business and when something is going wrong, immediately finding a plan B. And she said, you know, I like this part that she said, it's rarely convenient to reach a goal. You know, a lot of you start your Beachbody business and you say, hey, this is going to be easy. I can do this. And you go out there with this zest and excitement and you start sharing and talking to people about what you're doing. And what happens is you're met with resistance. I don't care who you are. You could be the CEO of the company and you're met with resistance. You know, I had a great transformation, shared my results, and people still didn't want to commit to Shakeology and a fitness program because they didn't quite see the value in it. I had to work super hard at the beginning of my business to build this foundation of trust with people. And that's what a lot of us are doing. And when you're trucking along throughout the month and you get stuck or you feel like you're not getting the traction you should be getting, or people are not saying yes to your invites, or you feel like nobody's seeing your Facebook posts or your Instagram feeds, it's a good time for you to say, I need to pull a plot twist. I need to come up with a plan B because what I'm doing is not working. And so a lot of times I found myself in my business not drastically stopping everything that I'm doing and saying I need to just quit Facebook and I need to start a blog, or I need to quit Facebook and do a like page. I never drastically changed my business, but I refocused and I said, you know what, maybe if I tweak my wording, or maybe if I make my images a little bit better, or you know, maybe if I put this extra hour that I usually watch my favorite TV shows into messaging more people, or getting on a call with my sponsor coach and going through, you know, some of the conversations that I'm having with potential customers because maybe I'm giving too much information or not enough, or maybe I don't have a clear call to action. But the one thing that you can do as a coach is constantly self-evaluate yourself. And Trina Gray did an excellent job at talking about that today. So bottom line, if what you have been doing for this entire month hasn't been bringing you the results that you're expecting, it's time to make a change. And so it doesn't matter if you are at 0 points or 1 point, you've got 4 days left. And I can tell you there have been times when it has been down to, I'll give you an example, my first year as a coach, New Year's Eve, I was at Success Club 3, and I was signing up somebody with a challenge pack at 9 o'clock at night on New Year's Eve because I wasn't going down like that. Like, it just wasn't going to happen. I was not going to hit Success Club. And it's kind of one of those things that you say it's a decision that I make. And it's one of those things where you're like, oh, it really doesn't matter if I do it. Who's going to care if I don't hit Success Club? But I guarantee you, if you make a choice, number one, every single month to do that, you're adding new customers, you're getting more commissions, you have more people that are going to get results that can then become advocates and can share that with other people. So, you know, and then those are potential coaches or potential referrals. And I will tell you, your team will follow suit. So if you are not hitting Success Club or you are not advancing your business or growing, your team will do the same thing. So, you know, I've always just led from the front, no matter where I am in my business, year 1 or year 4, no matter what rank I'm at, I'm still doing the vital behaviors that I practice and preach to you guys every single day. So listen to Trina's call, get yourself some more motivation after this, and if you need to, it's time to come up with that plan B. It's time to, you know, make it happen. And that clock strikes midnight on Friday night. I want each and every one of you to be celebrating that you did all that you could do to make it happen. So I want to give a couple of shout outs to people that have just rocked Success Club so far this month. So let me just give a shout out to, let me get my slide up here. All right, Zoe Klein has 26 Success Club points. She is our top Success Club point earner for the month of October, which is amazing. Danielle Tucker has 25, Karen Buggy, 25, Nicole Estep at 22, Alyssa Showmaker, 22, Brittany Hillard is at 20, and the list goes on. And I can actually, I'll post these slides in the Dream Team after the call so you guys can see it. But just some shout outs to some of the new coaches. Monica Stahl has 16 Success Club points. Kristen Woodsman-C, 16 points. They've both been coaches for 3 to 4 weeks at this point in time. So congratulations on a job well done. I also want to tell you guys that even, let me see. You know what? I'm going to do a screen share just so everybody can see this. Can I do this on mine? There we go. Yay, there it is. All right, I want you guys to see these names because I am just blown away by how many people have achieved Success Club 10 and higher. So congrats, guys, on a job well done. There are actually 2 lists of Success Club 10 All-Stars. So people, if you're brand new listening to this call and you're asking yourself, how do I even get Success Club? 2 points for every challenge pack, and it's 1 point for every Shakeology Home Direct. And that's all that counts for Success Club. And once you get to 5, you have officially hit Success Club. And if you hit 10, you are Success Club 10, and you get more customer leads once you hit 5 and then 10. And then we have our Success Club 5 All-Stars. So these are all of the coaches that are between 5 and 9 points. So if you see somebody on this list, make sure you shout them out because honestly, they worked really hard to get there this month and did an excellent job. So we are so incredibly proud of you. And we have more Success Club 5 All-Stars and more, like 3 pages, and Success Club in the making. So these are the coaches that have anywhere from 3 to 4 points and below. And you know what? I want you guys to put on your thinking cap. So what are some of the things that you guys can do in order to achieve Success Club? You can pull out all the stops as far as a flash sale or, you know, offering incentives or cash back or going back through all the people you talked to at the beginning of the month that weren't quite ready to commit or gave you price objections. Go back to those people and say, hey, there's only a few more days left in the month. We have a special promotion that I'm running as a coach. Every person that joins my challenge group starting on X date is going to get $10 cash back or is going to get a free 30-minute phone session with me to help you get up and running, to help you give you meal ideas and talk to you about planning and making sure that you've got the right program that fits your needs. Anything, whatever you want to offer is, you know, is good. So think about it, be creative. And now more than ever, don't get desperate. And when I mean desperate, don't just start going out there and posting advertisements. Keep it authentic. Use yourself in the pictures. The more you can share yourself in motion, the more traction you're going to get on your posts. So I just want to say congratulations to those that are rocking it, that are doing an awesome job. If you are looking for a place to plug people in that are interested in the business. This week, I'm doing a 5-day coach open house on Facebook. So if you would like to add people that are interested in coaching, you can add them there. Just let me know. And then also this Thursday night, I'm doing a business opportunity call. And again, it's through YouTube. And the links, I can post that all in the Dream Team, and we can kind of share that. All the leaders can kind of share that out. So if you have people that are interested in coaching, you can invite them to that call as well. So, alrighty. I think that is all of my announcements for this week. Katie, if I missed anything, just let me know. But I'm going to turn it over to Katie. And she is she's the founder of the Knockout Brigade. She's a great friend of mine, and she is a 6-star diamond coach, mom to amazing little boys, has a wonderful husband, Mike, and she is just rocking her Beachbody business. She is a retired teacher, which is kind of crazy to say, you know, but she has really, she is just, when you talk about sacrifices and making it count, she is all about it. And so she's going to talk to you guys tonight about crushing your goals. So go ahead and take over.
All right, so when I was talking to Mel about doing this call, and I'm really sorry about the lighting in here, it's one of my lights is out, so it's kind of dark, so I apologize. But when I was talking to Mel about doing this call, one of the things that I was realizing was that a lot of people were asking me about what I was doing in my business to be successful at this point with everything that I have going on and had on my plate. So I kind of just decided I was going to send a little information so that you could see what I do and see how it could maybe apply to you. So I'm going to start a screen share, and it should be good. All right, guys. So I have been a coach for a little over 2 years. And on top of that, I was actually a full-time teacher. I was teaching 7th grade reading, and I loved my job. I was truly passionate about it. Loved being around 7th graders. They're just so fun at that age. And on top of that, I was also I was, you know, I had just become pregnant with my second son, Dom, and I had a lot on my plate, and I was balancing a lot. And it appeared to me that if I wanted to sort of move my business forward, if I wanted to start moving in a new direction, I really wanted to start building my income, I really needed to start setting goals for myself. And I really needed to hold myself accountable to those goals. So tonight, I'm just kind of going to talk about what those goals are, how I went about setting them, and then how I went about keeping myself focused. So, you know, there are 3 rules that I've really applied to the business. The first rule, first and foremost, is I love my family, right? Everything I'm doing with this Beachbody business, I have them in the back of my mind. They are a big part of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, you know, the fact that right now my husband is downstairs watching Homeland and I'm up here with you is because I'm sacrificing somewhat, because I know that building this business and continuing to build this business is a big part of my why. The second is kind of a no-duh sort of thing. It's just that I work super hard. And the third is really the fun part, and that's living your passion, right? So I've been reading this book, and if you haven't read it, it's by the same author who wrote Jab, Jab, Right Hook. It's called Why Now is the Time to Crush It. Cash in on your passion, and it's by Gary Vaynerchuk. And it's an awesome book because it talks a lot about how if you find your passion, whatever that passion is, why wouldn't you be able to cash in on it? So here's the difference between Beachbody and his philosophy, right? So when you come in as a Beachbody coach, a lot of coaches automatically think your passion has to be fitness, and your passion has to be health, and your passion has to be working out. But that's really a lie. I mean, if that's not your passion, that doesn't mean you can't be successful at the business. In fact, it's almost the opposite. If you can actually find a passion that separates you from other coaches in the organization, man, you could really blow up this business. And I'm going to talk to you about how I found mine. So my story is, of course, a little bit different. I don't know how many of you know me very well, and if you don't, I'm sorry about your luck. I'm totally just kidding. I'm totally just kidding. If you don't know me, though, I actually was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma in February of 2014. And during that time, I knew that I would be undergoing about 12 sessions of a very rigorous chemotherapy. And when I was first diagnosed, I actually had just extended my maternity leave, and I had just lost my full-time benefits. So the business really wasn't just a hobby anymore, and it wasn't just sort of something I was going to do on the side. It was now the only other source of income that we had. And on top of that, I really had to do well with it because medical bills are expensive. They're really, really not cheap. So I thought about that for a really long time, and I remember just being really nervous and really stressed because I knew that I had looked at the pictures and gone onto Google, and I knew what people who had been through this type of chemotherapy looked like. And I said to my friend, I said, I am going to be sick. I am going to be bald. Who in the world would want me as a health coach? And my friend, in just one word, said, everybody. And that's when something clicked, you know. I knew that my goals and my priorities were going to shift. I knew that what I was capable of doing wasn't what I really thought I could do otherwise. But I all of a sudden had a new understanding and a new passion and a new why. And that leads me to tell you that passion, no matter what it is really contagious. So think about it, right? You know, you could be passionate about armadillos and armadillo racing. And if you're passionate about that, you can talk about it for hours. And it doesn't matter how absurd that sounds. People are going to be attracted to that passion. Here's the truth. And when I say skills are cheap, I don't mean in a monetary way. I mean, listen, you are part of the top organization in Beachbody. You have at your disposal every day, I think, 3 elite coaches, you have premier coaches, you have the top coach in the organization who can help you. That part is easy. What is hard and what you can't really put a price on is passion. It's just something that can't be taught. So here's what I encourage you to actually do. What if you start thinking of yourself like a brand, right? So if you think of coaches in the organization who have an actual brand, and when you see that brand, you associate it with that particular person. So for example, with me, it's One Fit Fighter, right? You see the purple ribbon and you know immediately it's connected to me and who I am and what I love and what I'm passionate about, right? I'm passionate about awareness. I'm passionate about talking about making your mess into your message. And I'm very, very passionate about inspiring others when they are going through difficult times. So when I started to think of myself as a brand, I knew that my mess and what I was going through was going to separate me from other coaches in the organization, right? I wasn't just this person who was like, you know, I want to be a Beachbody coach because I really like working out. Well, that is probably 220,000 people in the organization. What makes you the one? What makes you unique? Is it that you are, you know, somebody who absolutely hates working out and you blog about how much you overcome the obstacle of working out every day? Or are you somebody who is really good at turning delicious, really great desserts into something that's a little cleaner? Or are you somebody who also is in the I don't know, in the healthcare field, and you want to mesh the two worlds together. What is your brand? What makes you unique? What makes you different than the other 220,000 coaches in the organization? And that's what I mean by be more than the no duh. Like, I'm a Beachbody coach because I like working out with Shaun T. Well, no duh. I mean, everybody who's a Beachbody coach likes working out with Shaun T sometimes, sort of. Or one of the, one of the trainers. But be more than the no duh. You have to break away from everybody else in the organization and say, this is what makes me different. This is what makes me unique. And this is why I love what I do. This is my passion. And when you find that piece that makes you unique, that makes you more than the I'm a Beachbody coach because I like health and fitness. When you find that piece, all of a sudden people start going, I'm attracted to that. The other piece that I wanted to touch on, and I like talking about wine because it tastes delicious, but in this sense, I'm not really talking about that. When I say turn your water into your wine, I talk about all those basic behaviors that you're doing. You're implementing them, and you're organizing your time into a way that's manageable. So what I love about this business is people really try to give me excuses all the time. And excuses are really just you explaining to yourself why it's okay not to meet a goal that you set for yourself. It's not really you justifying it to your upline. It's really more you justifying it to yourself. So here's the thing. Everybody is on this level playing field, right? We all have the same tools. We all have, our own obstacles in front of us. But what are we going to do that turns what we have into the wine? So by that, I mean, what are you doing different? What are you doing that's kind of cut above everybody else that's going to make those basic things turn into something more? And when I say not wine, I mean the excuses. Do you every day give yourself excuses? Do you say the reason I'm not successful is because I have too much on my plate? Or the reason, I didn't hit Success Club is because I, went on vacation for a couple of weeks. Or the reason that I, am not going to become a diamond coach is because it just, isn't fitting into what I want, or somebody lost an active status. Instead of, making those excuses, turn it into a plausible plan. How are you going to go about doing it? Turn your water into your wine. Turn the basics up a notch. Make it you, make it distinct, make it unique. And this is one of the hardest things, that I think people struggle with is there are so many people out there that are going to have an opinion about you. When you are running a business through social media, you put yourself out there. If you're going to show that your passion, it has to be something that makes you stand out, right? It has to be something that you are giving to people, giving them a glimpse of who you are. It's kind of like a reality TV show, right? You are letting people into your life. So there's no gray area. Who you are is who you are showing people on social media. And it's really not your business what they think of you. It just isn't. They can have their opinion. If you put yourself out there and somebody has an opinion about what you're doing, that's on them. That's not on you. But I take it one step further, and people may disagree with this, but I say to listen to what they say. If somebody gives you some type of criticism or somebody doesn't like what you're doing, look at the perspective. Think about why they think that. And then think about if what they're saying, if there's some type of truth to it. Then use it to your advantage. Is it something that you could refute? Is it something that maybe they're right on or you could work on? If somebody says that all you're trying to do is sell them Shakeology, maybe look back at your post. Do you seem salesy? Do your posts need a little bit of work? Do you give yourself and show your passion, or are you just trying to sell someone on something? Show your passion, because the passion is what is contagious. The passion is what attracts people. All right. So this is the second thing I kind of wanted to talk to you about that I think helped me build the business. So I'm a teacher by trade, right? And I remember when I was in 7th grade, when I was teaching 7th grade, I taught, I think it was Point of View. And in 7th grade, I pulled out this children's book, and it's called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. And it is told from the point of view of the Alexander T. Wolf was his name. He's the big bad wolf, and he tells the story from his point of view. And the story itself, that's not really important. But what I'm trying to say is that every 7th grader in that class was completely engaged with a book where the target audience were children. Well, why? Because no matter what age you are, people love a good story. Think about your posts, right? Do you ever just tell a story? Do you ever just say what's on your mind? I think that storytelling is something that's really, really powerful. I think it speaks of your character. I think it reveals your personality without coming out and saying, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. It's revealing it through your words. It's revealing it through the glimpse of life that you are giving. You know, I remember not too long ago, I was watching the Kardashians on TV. And I remember thinking, you know, I shouldn't even post this because it's so embarrassing that I was actually watching the Kardashians, because they're just trash. And excuse me, that's my opinion, and I'm sorry if you love them, but I just couldn't stand it. And I remember Kim was on TV, and she was, you know, playing with her hair, and, you know, she was just talking about getting married to Kanye and how she was just wanting to get through it. And I posted my reflection on that. I posted about where I was watching the show. I then posted about what Kim was doing. I then posted about my thoughts on Kim. And believe it or not, I had hundreds of responses to what I was saying about Kim. I was able to engage people in the story, not only about the Kardashians, but about my opinion on the Kardashians. So the storytelling just built up my news feed and the Facebook affinity, so that all of a sudden people were recognizing what I was talking about. And it wasn't anything to do about Shakeology. It wasn't anything to do about Beachbody, but it was related to my character. It was related to showing people a glimpse of my personality outside of what I do as a coach. So how do you come up with a story, right? You know, I'm not asking you to write a children's book, and sometimes you might be thinking, you know, I'm just not creative, Katie. So I don't know if your brain is like mine, but my brain works in overdrive all the time. It is honestly like going, squirrel, all the time. And sometimes when I sit down for 3 minutes, I just have random thoughts come to my head. It might be a song. It might be something about my son's toys. It might be something about something that's going on in my family. But these thoughts, I just manifest. You know, these thoughts, I just get down on paper. So it's just words sometimes, but those words become stories. Those stories become relationships with people, because relationships are built on how you make people feel. Storytelling is awesome. And it's not something I see a lot of. I see a lot of people throwing out, you know, things that are always related to health and fitness, and you should absolutely have those. But let people see you. Let people know your journey. Let people know your struggles, and tell them a story that connects how you feel and what you stand for. And the one picture you see here is one that I talked about, like what I was going through and the moment, why I took this selfie of me in the car too as well. All right. So this is called the lure and the lasso, right? So a lure refers to fishing, for those of you who aren't familiar with that. And then the lasso, well, clearly Wonder Woman, I think that's the character, right? Is all about like whipping it, pulling her thing. So look at your business this way. So social media is so cool. Social media has no end, right? You can connect to literally millions of people. It's kind of like mind blowing when you think of the free advertising you have in front of you. And it's all about relationships. And I think that's the piece that people miss. That's the piece that people forget about. And it's the most critical part. So the lure is all about what you do up front. So think of your lure as your engagement, how you engage people to you, how you draw them into you. So you're thinking about storytelling. You're thinking about, your unique, story, like your unique five. So for me, it is people who love hearing about warriors and people who have overcome obstacles. For Melanie, it might be that she's really good at clean eating and sharing recipes and tips. So she creates those things. She then posts those things, and people come to her. They discover it, and that's great. That's one way to do it. But the lasso is where it's really at. So the lasso is when you go out and you're like, listen, I want you to check out what I'm doing, without saying, I want you to check out what I'm doing. I truly try to engage myself into the lives of other people. You comment on other people's posts. You connect with others. You ask for referrals. You insert yourself into those conversations, in those groups that make you somebody that people genuinely want to go to. So they go to your wall and they go, that's kind of cool. See, she works out. It's pretty awesome. Shaun T, I heard about. I think that he's the insane guy. She seems to know something about him. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Find that opportunity for people to come to you. But it all has to start when you yourself are confident in the person that you are and telling the story of who you are, luring them in and setting out the lasso for them to connect. So Michael Jackson, once upon a time, was all about starting with the man in the mirror, right? So Michael Jackson said, I need to start with me. And that's exactly what you need to do too. So you might be looking at my goals here and going, that's pretty cool. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to do that, except for Cancer's ass. I hope nobody has to do that. You might be looking at this and going, that's neat. But this, what you see here, is what fills my cup. This is my passion. This is what I love. You can't set your goals based on what anybody else is doing. They have to be yours, and they have to be yours alone. So how do you find that? How do you go about setting your goals? And when I say set goals, I don't just mean you throw out a date for Diamond that is far down the line and eventually you'll get there. It is something that is set in stone, that is in front of you, that you yourself are accountable for. So no matter what, come high or, hell or high water, you are going to meet that goal. So you want to think about, well, what's my passion? It goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this call. What is my passion? What is something that I firmly, in the pit of my belly, separates me from other coaches? What makes me feel good? What gives me pleasure? And it doesn't necessarily have to be connected to fit and health all the time. If something that fills your cup is monetary, that's fine. If something that fills your cup is recognition, awesome. If it's helping other people get to their goals, fantastic. But be honest with you. Start with you. But you can't lie to yourself. You have to be real. You have to be the one who says, this is who I am. This is what I love. Flaws, strengths, things that I've failed at, things that I'm good at. And this is on a totally different side note. But how often do you look at your failures and say, this is what I need to improve on? This is what I need to change in me. This is what I'm doing wrong. Instead of saying, this is what I did right. This is what I'm good at. This is what I can teach other people. This is what I can provide to other people. Seriously, have that moment, not like that creepy moment where you're standing in the dark and you're looking in the mirror and you're singing Michael Jackson, because that's probably going to happen with me later tonight when I'm off this call. But seriously, who are you when no one is watching? Because that is how the goals get created. When no one is watching, who is the real you? That's where your stories start. That's where you really start to ignite a passion and find out what your goals are and why they're important to you. All right, so like I said at the beginning of the call, I had everything that was standing in my way. I had every excuse to pack my bags and say, I can't do this business. This business is hard. I can't do it. I have too much on my plate. I'm going through chemo. I'm sick. I have my boys to look after. I can't do it. I am telling you, I had every freaking reason to fail, but I didn't, and I won't. And I am going to tell you that my goal had to be completely intact with what I really could handle, and just a little bit more, just a fingernail more. So what do I need to do to be successful as a Beachbody coach? Here are my suggestions. 1, inspire 3 people a month. For me, that was hitting Success Club. I know that hitting Success Club is my non-negotiable, gotta do it, have to do it, not a question, it's done. And in helping 3 people, I also know that those 3 people, if they have success, they become successful challengers who either provide successful referrals or they become successful coaches themselves. I inspired at least 3 people a month. Each month, I hit Success Club 10. That was my personal goal. The second one is sometimes the hardest one for people to do, and you hear it all the time. Treat the business like a business. But do you? I mean, if it came down to it, could you feed your family on what you're doing? Does it matter to you so much to build it like a business? And I think back to when I was teaching full-time. I always had a safety net. I always had a plan to fall back on. So I never really went all in. I played the hokey pokey with my business, and I was just kind of getting by. But when you took that safety net away from me and said, no, you are going to do this full time, and I'm not saying that you have to do it full time, but I'm saying if you treat it like a business and you set your hours and you say, you know what, Success Club, it just has to happen, you're going to start seeing a growth in your business. And I think yesterday I talked about this in one of my groups. I look at Success Club each month like I did when I had lesson plans, right? So as a teacher, I had to hand in lesson plans at the end of every week. And it wasn't always glamorous. It wasn't always something that I loved doing. It wasn't always fun. It wasn't really, something that was always enjoyable. And sometimes it was really stressful because everything I was doing had to align to a common core standard, and it was stressful sometimes. But I did it because my boss expected it and my job was on the line. What if you started looking at Success Club as the job being on the line? The only difference is you don't have a boss to answer to. You are your boss. But if you look at it like I did, those lesson plans, you will see a difference. The third one is my personal suggestion, and that is to have an accountability partner. An accountability partner for me, it wasn't my mentor. It was somebody who understood what I was going through because they were at that same point in their business as me. They were somebody who was going through what I was going through, pushing me to the next level because they were pushing to the next level. They were someone who knew me inside and out. They knew what I had on my plate. They knew the things I struggled with, but they also knew my strengths. And together we fed off of those two things. And I know you hear this all the time, and it's kind of like, all right, Katie, no duh, of course, is your why. My why is in front of me all the time. I know my why. And I connect it back to the goals I've set. And in front of my face every day are those goals. Because if they're in front of my face, I'm going to meet them because they're constantly reminding me. And I'm not saying in front of my face like mentally. I mean, they are on a wall. They are plastered. They are put up there. I know my deadlines. I work to my deadlines. I know my goals. And they are so embedded in everything I do because they're so connected to the why. There's no secret to this business. There's nothing magical about what we're doing. Every activity has a purpose. It's aligned to the goal that you have, and that moves your business forward. Just keep it simple. So those are my tips for you for the night. I really don't have anything else. Melanie, did you have anything else that you kind of wanted to connect on?
No, you're awesome. You did a good job.
Are you going to go sing Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror? This light is so scary.
Nobody wants to hear me sing. It's just scary.
It is. It's true. We should do karaoke sometime.
Maybe we should have a few drinks first.
Sure. Margaritas. I'm in. Yeah. All right. Do you guys have any other questions? I don't even know how to do questions on here. I set up the Q&A, but I don't know where it is. Is anyone here? I don't see anything.
I don't either. Let me, what was the name of the book that you mentioned, Katie?
Yeah. It is called Crush It. It's called Crush It. And it's by that Barry Ganderchuk. I think he wrote Jab, Jab, Right Hook, right?
Did, yes.
I did. So it's a really short read. It's a really quick read. And I don't even remember where it was recommended to me. It was in one of the leadership groups. And so when I read it through, the man who wrote it, he has really created a very successful $1 million business on the social media platform. So a lot of what he talks about is related to how to build your business in social media. But what I really liked about it is it's so common sense, and it's so easy to do, but it's also really easy not to do. He did talk a lot about Tumblr, which I don't really use a lot, but I am going to look more into it as a way. I think it's a way of getting your blog seen more, I think, if I remember correct. So it is a good read. It's an easy read. It's quick, and I just liked when he was talking about that lure and the lasso, because you can't just throw a lure out there and expect it to catch every time. You have to send the lasso.
Right. Right. I like that too, and I feel, and we talk about that a lot, even with our new coaches, when we're teaching them the posts, the 3 to 5, I would say, right, your lure, you're putting those posts out there, so you're kind of like your bait, you're putting it out there, and then you've got to invite them because people are not going to come to you. You have to be able to go in and pull it out.
Actually, Melanie, I'm glad you brought that up, that 3 to 5. So I think I do this a little bit differently. So I don't necessarily always post 3 to 5 times a day. I think it's really important, and I know a lot of our coaches, you guys work full time, and it's hard to get in 3 posts a day, especially if you are somebody who has a job where you can't post during the day. Instead, if you can't do that 3 to 5, if you can do 2, make them solid and make them meaningful and make them good, and not always business related, but it's something where people go specifically to your page, your business or your like page or your personal page, and they kind of say, I want to go to our page because I know that I'm going to be fill in the blank. I'm going to be motivated. I'm going to find a recipe. I'm going to find something that connects you back to what I was talking about in the beginning, that you have that one passion that keeps you unique from everyone else. And it doesn't have to be health and fitness related.
Yeah. And I actually think that maybe we should challenge everybody tonight after you get off this call to go to your timeline. And I just want you to scroll down through and I want you to evaluate yourself. Give yourself a progress report and say, okay, I know I do this every once in a while. I get so excited about what I do as a Beachbody coach that sometimes I forget to talk about my life because I like talking about my recipes and I like talking about my workouts, and I'll catch myself saying, oh, I'm getting too into that moment. I got to make it real. I got to talk about my life. Or, you see a lot of good things and you start sharing other people's posts, but then you have no original content. Or maybe you post too many ads where you're advertising for a challenge group. So give yourself a report card tonight and say, where could I step it up? Where, if I would go to your Facebook page, what would I think? Would I want to join your challenge group and what you're doing? So give yourself that little report in this evening and just set a game plan for the rest of the week of where you want to go with your posts.
I would even say, too, if you have an accountability partner, to have your accountability partner look at your timeline or your page or whatever it is and give you some honest feedback about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. I have no other questions. So nobody has given me anything else, so I think we're good.
Awesome. Hey, well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next Monday night. We have another guest speaker talking, so we'll keep you posted with the links. Have a great evening.
Hey, thanks, guys. Bye.